Good evening, Internet. It is I, Shroom, and tonight I'm heading into Pioneer format in Moto to play some Hardened Scales, but it's not Hardened Scales as you remember it. I like to call this deck Hardened Butchers. Let's take a look at why. So we are a Hardened Scales deck, and you're familiar with this enchantment. It's 1 mana. If one or more +1/+1 counters will be put on a creature you control, put that many +1 counters instead. So anything that gets counters gets an additional counter, your creatures. This is traditionally paired with lots of artifacts because it is very synergistic with things like Hangarback Walker, with Stonecoil Serpent, which we actually are playing 3 copies of because this is great with Hardened Scales, as we all know. But what I'm really trying to do is abuse this card with a Dreadhorde Butcher, which is a card that I really always am trying to make good in whatever format I play it in. Dreadhorde Butcher is a 2 mana Rakdos colors for 1/1 haste. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, put a +1/+1 counter on it. When it dies, it deals damage equal to its power to any target. So the synergy with Hardened Scales here is obvious. If you get into hit with Dreadhorde Butcher, it gets 2 +1/+1 counters on it instead of 1. And then when it dies, it does damage equal to its toughness, so it does like an extra point of damage for every time that it gets in for a hit. So if you drop this on turn 2, what I really like about this card is that it can just run away with the game. It has to be answered like quickly, or else it can just kill your opponent pretty effectively. Like if you think about this, if we play this on turn 2 and get in, with a Hardened Scales on the table, it becomes a 3/3 that when it dies does 3 points of damage. And then if we're able to get in for another hit, it becomes a 5/5 after hitting for 3 that when it dies does 5 points of damage, etc, etc, etc. So I really want to see if we can get off some nutty games where we get to just load counters onto our Dreadhorde Butcher off of Hardened Scales and just body our opponent with the damage that it does when it dies. We're coupling this with another card that I always try to make good, which is Rhythm of the Wild. It's this 3 mana Gruul enchantment, makes our creatures uncounterable, and gives creatures, non-token creature control, Riot, which means they either enter with haste or a +1/+1 counter. Or if we happen to have Hardened Scales on the table, it's going to enter with additional counters. We have some additional effects that do the same thing as Hardened Scales. We have a couple of Winding Constrictors that put additional counters on our creatures if they would come in with counters. Which is also a creature itself, so that's the reason why we're running, 2 copies as opposed to only 1 copy of Ozoliths the Shattered Spire, which is a Hardened Scales. It's a legendary artifact that, puts an additional counter on creatures we control that are getting counters. But for 1 and a green, we can put a +1/+1 counter on target artifact or creature as a sorcery. So it is also a means by which we can just add counters to our stuff. And the other threats that we are running, in addition to those aforementioned Butchers, Stonecoil Serpents, and Winding Constrictors, are a couple of Gruul Spellbreakers. These are just 3 mana 3/3 tramples that are hexproof as long as it's our turn. And they have Riot, so we can choose to have them come in as a 3/3 with a +1/+1 counter, so effectively a 4/4 trample, or we can choose to give them haste and just have them be 3/3 tramples. Most of the time, we're going to give them the counters because we are a Hardened Scales deck, and we get to add additional counters when we do that. So that's kind of what we're after. And if we couple this with like Rhythm of the Wild, it gets kind of nutty, piling up the counters. And we've got a couple of Bloated Contaminators, which are just 3 mana 4/4 tramplers. Toxic 1, that's not really that relevant. But when it deals combat damage to a player, proliferate. And that means that we get to add an additional counter to everything on our board that has +1/+1 counters. That includes all of our Dreadhorde Butchers, Gruul Spellbreakers, Winding Constrictors, anything that may have acquired counters during the course of play. We just get to add additional counters every time Bloaty gets in for a hit, which is really good. I'm just a fan of this card. I think it's great. We are running a playset of Elves for a little bit of acceleration. We're running a Scavenging Ooze, which is just a little bit of Graveyard Hate in the main board that can add counters. We're looking for that synergy with stuff that gets counters. And as far as creatures go, one other threat that we have, which is not really synergistic with our counterplan at all, but this card just seems nuts in any kind of Gruul mid-range deck like this. Anzrag the Quake Mole, which is just an addition from Murders of Karlov Manor. It's just a 4 mana 8/4. When it becomes blocked, untap each creature you control. After this phase, there is additional combat phase. Huh? So it's a 4 mana 8/4 that if you block it, it untaps all of your stuff and gives you another combat, which this just seems incredibly pushed to me, and I wanted to try it out. I don't really think this is like the best deck for it or anything, but it just seems too good to not play in a Gruul beatdown deck like this. It's kind of nuts to me. Like, you could just not block it, and then you take 8 damage because it's an 8/4, or if you block it, like my whole team untaps and we get to attack again. It's crazy. So we're gonna see if we can get some work done today, even though it doesn't like really jive with our plan at all. We've got a couple of walkers as well. We got Domri Chaosbringer, who can +1 to add mana, and if we cast a creature off that, that creature gains Riot, which we want, of course, because of all of our Hardened Scales. It can -3 to look at the top 4 cards and let us pick up to 2 creatures. So this is, and put it in our hand. So this is really like the only form of card advantage we have in the deck, which is a little bit of a concern that we don't have ways to draw cards or like Coco or anything like that. But we're running way too many like non-creature spells to work with Coco. So Domri is going to be our go-to for that. And of course, he's a Planeswalker, so of course Bloated Contaminator can put loyalty counters on him by proliferation. We also have one Domri Anarch Bolas. I really like this card. It gives all of our stuff +1/+0 as a passive ability. It can +4 mana and also the Rhythm of the Wild effect to make our creatures uncounterable, and it can -2 to have one of our creatures fight another creature we don't control, which is just a good form of removal and interaction. Speaking of interaction, we are Jund, so of course we have plenty of that in our colors. A couple of Fatal Push in the main board, 1 Bitter Triumph, and 1 Power Word Kill for additional removal. Bitter Triumph can hit Planeswalkers and creatures. I like Power Word Kill because I think it's better than like Infernal Pursuit or Go for the Throat. And then we've got 1 K command that we're running in the main, just to recycle our creatures from the graveyard and incidentally hate on artifacts and make our opponents discard if needed. And speaking of which, we are running a little bit of protection for our creatures in the form of 2 Snakeskin Veils. There are myriad different options you can choose for this kind of effect. A 1 mana, give your creature a boost and give them hexproof to basically counter removal spells. I'm of course choosing this one because it puts a +1/+1 counter on the creature that we protect, which turns into additional counters if we have Winding Constrictors, Hardened Scales, or Ozolith on the table, which is what we're aiming to do. And we have 1 just regular old Ozolith. That's an artifact that when our creatures die, if they had counters on them, we put them on the Ozolith. And then at the beginning of combat on our turn, if it has counters on him, we can move those counters from the Ozolith to its creature. So it's a way of kind of recycling our creatures, our counters when our creatures die, and later on putting them on other counters, which seems like it might be good in this deck. There's a total of 21 lands, not really any tech because our deck is extremely color intensive. The mana base is a little concerning to me, honestly, because ideally we'd like to stick an Elf turn 1 and on turn 2 play a Hardened Scale and a Dreadhorde Butcher, which means that our colors are really tricky. 21 lands I think should be sufficient for the deck because we do have the 4 Llanowar Elves. We also have Domri, Anarch of Bolas, who's a 3-drop that can add mana. The 4-drop can as well, but that's not really, can't really count that as a mana source. Our curve basically tops out at 3. There's 2 4-drops, this Domri Chaosbringer and the Anzrag. So I think we can get away with 21 lands. We might end up mulliganing some 1-landers, but I think that's a price we're willing to pay for having like a low to the ground, densely a deck that's packed densely with good threats. Our sideboard contains 4 Duresses against control, which is a very popular deck right now. We're kind of bad against it, although Rhythm of the Wild is good against it. They do run like 4 Get Loss in the main board, so that can destroy our Rhythm of the Wilds. So we want Duresses to like take away their sweepers and their planeswalkers, that kind of stuff. Necromancer can work against combo decks in like Lotus Field. Brotherhood and is good against like the Boros Convoke decks. It's good against decks that want to run a lot of cheap artifacts, like perhaps Rakdos Sacrifice. We've got a 3rd Snakeskin Veil, which is good against decks with lots of spot removal, like Rakdos. A couple of Scavenging Oozes fill out the set of 3 for graveyard interaction. That also synergizes with our Hardened Scales. Tranquil Fillback is flexible, can destroy artifacts, enchantments, or graveyards, and also gain us life. We have a 2nd K command in the sideboard and 2 Damping Spheres to hate on Lotus Field and Izzet Phoenix decks. So that's the plan. We're going to see. We would love to like turn 1 Llanowar Elves, turn 2 Hardened Scales plus Dreadhorde Butcher. That's like the dream. We're going to see if we can go off with Dreadhorde Butchers and Hardened Scales tonight and really pile those counters on it. So let's go off with some Butchers. And if you like this kind of content, if you like off-meta, off-kilter MTG content, and you want to support my channel, please be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment down below. All right, our first match is against Curmudgeon. We're on the play. Looks like we have a good draw, so we can keep this. And we'll go with Blooming Marsh. Now, this is another deck where we have no Field of Ruin whatsoever, which always makes me nervous in Pioneer and modern too, because there's so many busted lands. But we're aggro enough that like we should be killing our opponent before like we'll be able to activate Field of Ruins. So that's why we're not running them. C-Note Scout. All right. So it looks like Tropical Fish. All right, so they draw land. I think we're gonna kill this Merfolk so that we can get in with our Butcher. Because you really want to get in that first hit. So we have a removal spell for a second Merfolk, which means we should be able to get this up to a 3/3, which should be really nice for us. Alright. Deeproot Pilgrimage. It's a little bit of a problem because those 1/1 hexproof fish are hard for us to deal with, of course. So let's get in with our Butcher. Let's get that counter. And we'll drop our Rhythm of the Wild. Let's see what they have here. Nothing. So probably a Merfolk Trickster. It's a 3-drop. Lost in the Maze. Tap X target creatures, put a stun counter on each of those. Okay. So they're going to stun our Butcher. Alright, so let's get in with a hasty 4/4 Spellbreaker. +1/+1 counter and haste. Silvergill. So they revealed a Forensic Researcher. Kiyora's Follower. Alright, let's just attack with our Spellbreaker. You're gonna chump. Untap another target permanent. That seems like something we probably want to kill, right? I think I'm going to Scavenging Ooze. We'll give it a +1/+1 counter. I think I'll pass, and I probably want to cycle this Proving Ground. They could drop something more threatening. C-Note Scout. So they draw Forest. Alright, let's go ahead and just kill this thing. Yeah, I should have killed it last turn. Because they can just tap it, even if they have nothing to do. That was a mistake. Now they can chump block our Dreadhorde Butcher. Another Lost in the Maze. On the Scoos, okay. And the Butcher, okay. There's a Beseju. That's actually very good. Well, let's attack with our Trampler. Alright, they're double blocking. Yeah, let's go ahead and just get rid of the Deep-Root Pilgrimage. Forensic Researcher. Untap another target permanent you control. Collect evidence 3. Tap target permanent you don't control. Okay. Well, just because we can, we'll start eating some creatures from the graveyard. Another Spellbreaker is good. +1/+1 counter and haste. Opponent scoops. Okay. That was a brutal beatdown. So, I think we want... I want another Snakeskin Veil to shut down those stupid enchantments. And maybe our Tranquil Frillbacks. Scavenging Ooze doesn't do much. We can cut. We didn't draw any Hardened Scales there either. Like, do they actually kill our stuff? Doesn't seem like they really do. Let's cut the Ozolith. Let's cut. A K command? Alright. Yeah, this is fine. We're not drawing our scales, but, you know, we've got cards that are good against them, so that's a reason to keep. Alright, let's go with a Dork. Silvergill reveals another Silvergill. Alright, let's just play our tap land and pass. Silvergill reveals Forensic Researcher. Alright, they're drawing free cards. I suppose I'll get rid of one of these Silvergills since I have 2 Fatal Pushes. Just more lands. Well, I don't want to play this Tranquil Frillback yet, because I want it to tag an enchantment. So if they play their Forensic Researcher and attack with the Silvergill, I think I will block with the Llanowar Elf, just to revolt my Fatal Push. Because I have lands. I'm not short on mana. No attack, no play? Okay, so they're holding up Collected Company. Alright, there's an Ozolith. That's pretty good. So let's go play the Ozolith. Let's put a counter on our elf. Becomes a 3/3. I think we'll stay back. Because if they have a trickster, they could double block us. That's a nice synergy. It adds an counter and then adds an additional counter because of its text. There's the Coco. Trickster. Just a trickster. Okay. That's not so bad. They shock. There's the forensic researcher. Alright, they're all about tapping down our team. Domri. So, we could Domri, add mana, play the frill back as a 5/5. Collect evidence is mana value, right? I think so. I think we need to push Kior's follower. Okay, so let's do this. Green, red. Whatever. Play the Domri. I think let's minus it. Sure. Plus it, rather. Add a red. Play our frill back. We'll just give it a +1/+1 counter, which means 2 counters. You can't kick it, unfortunately. So they can tap both our dudes, hit Domri for 4. Assuming they don't have like a lord or something. But I like getting down Domri. Yep, there's the Deep Root Pilgrimage. Ooh, that's bad. Yep, punished. Badly punished for playing our stuff. Oh, they're untapping their lands? Okay, I think this is actually just infinite tokens, right? Yeah, that's just infinite tokens. Okay. So, big mistakes there. I haven't seen that build before. So, I guess we probably want Brotherhood's End. I haven't seen that combo. I guess we'll lose... We'll lose our 4-drops. Yeah, let's just cut the 4-drops. Add the sweepers. I had the Fatal Push for the Kiora's follower too. So, just kind of blew that one. Okay. We have a turn 2 Butcher. So we'll keep. Would love to draw Hardened Scales. There was no way for us to beat infinite tokens because we don't have any sweepers. We didn't have any sweepers last game, so although technically we weren't dead right then, we do die to infinite tokens. Okay. We can even protect our Butcher with Snakeskin Veil. Yes, the butchery begins. So this is a Merfolk Trickster. Which means Snakeskin Veil will be good. Alright. That's a 4/4 Butcher. That is going to bring some serious pain. I think we just play a 3/3 Stonecoil here. C-Note Scout. So they get to draw Cavernous Souls off their Explorer. Just more lands. Okay. Well, let's attack. Another Trickster. Hexcatcher. Alright. Let's Assassin's Trophy the Lord. They're just staying up. So they've got flash creatures. More interaction would be fun. Here comes one of their enchantments. Lost in the Maze. Tapped creatures you control have hexproof. Okay. So they're tapping our Butcher and our Stonecoil. No, just our Stonecoil. Not our Butcher. Do they have something else for the Butcher? Another Frillback. Okay. They're just taking it. I guess since we have the Frillback and nothing better to do, get it down. Let's destroy their enchantments. Forensic Researcher. Cleric of Chill Depths. When it blocks a creature, that creature doesn't untap during its controller the next untap step. Okay. Stonecoil Serpents. Alright, let's attack with our dudes. So they're going to ice down our Butcher. And take 3. Let's just play the biggest Stonecoil we can. Alright, we got just too much beef to ice down. Sweet. We get there against Tropical Fish. Didn't see much in the way of Hardened Scales that match, but we did see us beat down. GG's. Okay, our match is against Saffron. We're going to be on the draw, it looks like. GLHF opponents. And we've got to turn 2 Butcher, so that's a keep. Balaged Recovery. So they could be Lotus Field. Yep, looks like they're Lotus Field. So this is going to be tough. I don't know if we're beating this game 1. Our Boreal Grazer actually is very good against us as a blocker, so we have to Fatal Push it. Alright, Hordy boy. Need you to do some work. Scavenging Ooze may help us. Sylvan Scrying. Another Grazer. Grazer just Stone Cold locks down the Butcher. Alright, let's see. The shock. Life total doesn't matter much at this point. And do we die this turn or next turn? That's the question. Copying the Lotus Field. So it looks like we're dying next turn. Alright, let's start eating your graveyard. Stonecoil Serpent. Sure. Getting for 2. And we'll play as large of a Stonecoil as we can, and then we'll die. I don't know. Might not be right to tap out there. Because it's possible Scavenging Ooze could do something. Omniscience. Do they have anything to play off it, though? No. Wow. Okay. Not every day that you survive an Omniscience. Okay. Let's eat an Arboreal Grazer. Let's get rid of that Arboreal Grazer. And make them discard their last card. Alright, well, if they whiff for a couple of turns, we might just pull this off. Archdruid's Charm. Search for a creature. Yeah, that was pretty good. Now they can get their ultimatum and they win. So we want Necromentia. What else? Damping Sphere. Duress. I like Fatal Push. I need to be able to kill these stupid Arboreal Grazers. Let's cut the slow stuff. I don't need Snakeskin Veils for any reason. I don't actually think K Command is good. What else to cut here? Ozolith is useless, I think. And go down one Rhythm of the Wild. All right. Keep, I guess? I don't know. I have no sideboard cards. I probably shouldn't have kept that. I just was seeing like Hardened Scales, but we really have nothing that's good against our opponent. Our opponent is mulling to 6. So we'll need some help from the top of our deck. Let's go with an elf. Temple, Seiju. I'll play Hardened Scales. Just attack. Should have played it off the Copperline Gorge so I could hold up Fatal Push. Sylvan Scrying to get their Lotus Field. Alright, so I need like Damping Sphere or Necromentia, Duress. Alright, let's Duress. Temporary lockdown, Dark Petition. Voyaging Satyr, untap target land. Temporary lockdown sure is annoying. I do have Beseiju though, so I think it's Dark Petition. Yeah, let's just get down the biggest Stonecoil that we can. 4/4. There's the Lotus field. Voyaging Satyr. Alright, let's push the Satyr. Let's attack with our dudes. And let's play another elf. Probably should just held up Beseiju there, right? Now they can lock down, and if I destroy it now, my stuff can't attack. Alright, their last card is Beseiju. Another elf. I don't know if this just dies. I think the Stonecoil Serpent just dies. Alright, let's get rid of temporary lockdown. Yep, Stonecoil just dies. And we just draw land. So now I don't imagine we survive this. Grab a creature. Oh no, they grab a second Lotus field. This is a really good card. Archdruid's Charm. Yeah. Search for a creature or land. It's ridiculously good. Alright, I need to draw something right now. What is this? I was thinking we're gonna get mana screwed this league in these matches. Just can't stop drawing lands. Sure, play that on black. Wow, they just passed the turn. Okay, here comes the saddest Dreadhorde ever. Like with each turn that passes, the chances of us just losing on the spot goes up more than incrementally. There's the granted. Emergent Ultimatum. Can I draw Duress, please? Yeah, there it is. Wow. Okay. Double Besage you. That's a 1/4, the Fae of Wishes, so... Yeah, it's a blocker. It does block our elves. And they have a Lair of the Hydra. Can I draw something good, please? Damping Sphere. Well, we're swinging. Alright, they take 2. They have double Besage you. So, I mean, that doesn't do much. Gets another land out of our deck, I suppose. Okay, so their last card is Besage you. They're at 2 life. So I'm sure they're just gonna block one of my elves with their lair. All right, they go to 1. And did they finally top deck it? Yes, they did. Archdruid's Charm. Zakama. I don't think there's any way we can beat Zakama. Yep, they untap all their lands. I mean, they have infinite mana. I can't beat that. So, we got him down to 1. I mean, we kept a bad hand, but if our draw had been slightly less anemic, we could have won that. That's pretty sad, but what can you do? Okay, we're against Cream 957. We'll be on the play. That was the most... that was the saddest Lotus Field match I've ever seen. Yeah, this is great. Gigantha could mean a lot of things. It could be just Rakdos. Although if it's Rakdos, they're not playing Vein Ripper. Could be a lot of things. Could be Money Pile. Our hand is good though. We have Ozolith into Dreadhorde Butcher. Sorry. Oh, it's Gigantha. Kumano Faces. Interesting. Well, it's a little scary to shock, but gonna do it. Another Kumano. Okay. I mean, they don't have a creature or removal, so that's good. Let's play another Butcher. Cacophony Scamp. Alright, they're gonna hit me for 10, it looks like. Felonious Rage. Create a 2/2 detective token when that creature dies. Alright, let's counter up our Butcher. Felonious Rage. Sure, we'll Fatal Push. They're staying back. Just grabbing Gigantha, okay. Beseiju. Let's attack with our Butcher. They're just taking it. Alright. Let's play Bloaty. I think I'll hold on to Beseiju as something to discard to Bitter Triumph. They claim the Firstborn. Okay. So we want Snakeskin Veil. We want Tranquil Frillback. Anything else? Culligan's Command. Let's lose the 4-drops. Let's lose a Rhythm of the Wild. Actually, I think I'll keep... Nah, let's use one Rhythm of the Wild and one... Do I want any Brotherhood's End? I don't think so. Let's lose a couple of Rhythm in the Wild. We're probably going to be staying back on defense. I don't know about this draw. I think that's a mulligan. We have an Ozolith, but we have no threats to follow it up with. We have nothing until turn 3. K-Command could be good. but is it good enough? I don't know. I'm really on the fence here. My first instinct was to mull, and of course we mull into a far worse hand. So gonna mull that. Yeah, now I wish I kept the first draw. Alright, we'll keep this. Bottom. Our green 3-drops. Yep, that's not looking good. Should have kept the first hand. Fireblade Charger. And we draw a green card. I mean, I'll trade. I guess. It's not really great to trade here because they're just ahead of us on cards. But all of their creatures are really threatening. They also have Dreadhorde Butchers. What? That's not fair. Alright. I think we gotta just deal with the Dreadhorde Butcher. The question is, do we discard or do we pay 3 life? I think we discard. I don't know. I don't want to pay 3 life. They have double Felonious Rage. They Village Rights it. Okay. Alright, we're just gonna take this. Blood Crypt. Yep. Just a 2/2. I don't know. I think I stay back. Nah, let's just go ahead and attack. I can't really win without this Constrictor, so if I lose it in combat to like their combat trick or something, it's pretty devastating. Well, they're in Thrill Seeker. They're gonna hit me for 8. And they have 4 cards in hand. I don't have green mana to kick my frill back. Or to play Sneakskin Veil. I mean, I think I gotta just play it. It's a 3/3. Yeah, their card advantage after our double mulligan plus bitter triumph is just too much to overcome. Should have kept the first draw. Yeah, whatever. Should have kept the first draw. Should not have discarded to bitter triumph. Okay, we're against DL Jeff. We're going to be on the draw. This is fine. Llanowar Elves. Boy, do people still play Mono Green Devotion? It'd be pretty terrible if they did. Kiora. Yeah, it looks like it. Alright, what to do here? Well, I need to have black mana available. I could just kill Kiora. Does the ramp him up a land? We can wait. Because I might want to hit, you know, like, Nykthos. Uh-huh. Cavalier of Thorns. Let's go ahead and kill that before they put anything in their graveyard. Can it put itself on their graveyard? No. Well, we've got off to a pretty slow start, so we are not even competing with what they're doing. Guess we just play as big of a Stonecoil as we can. Storm the festival. Gets a Pelucranos and a Cavalier of Thorns. Alright, we don't need to play this out. We're not winning from here. They can cast their, Storm the Festival back from their graveyard pretty soon, if not this turn. They've already got a giant board. We drew basically nothing there, so that's not going to do it. So what do we want? Scavenging Ooze. I don't know. We don't really have a lot that's good against them. Fatal Push is good for killing the elves. It's not good. Snakeskin Veil doesn't really do anything. Their creatures are just so much bigger than ours. That's a problem. Tranquil Frillbacks can also exile their graveyard. I don't think we need Ozolith. I mean, we're trying to do our best impression of them. One key command is sufficient. Is one Fatal Push, because it can't kill Kiora or the bigger stuff. Even like an old growth troll is pretty hard for us to deal with. This is a mulligan. Alright, I guess we'll keep this. It's very slow. We'll bottom one of our frillbacks. We don't want to go to 5. I don't know if we bitter Triumph an Elf. I think we will a Kiora. More elves. Alright, there's a Butcher. Did I play the Butcher or a Spellbreaker? I think I played the Butcher. I would trade it for 2 elves. Okay. Happy to trade it for 2 elves. They're just firing up Lair of the Hydra. Okay. Well, that's fine. If that's all they got, that's really good news for us. Alright. I think we'll just play 4/4 Spellbreaker. Alright, they're at 5 mana now. I really don't want them to get to 6. I'll pay 3 life. Kill the elf. Play my own elf. Play a land. Go. Nykthos not doing much. Firing up the lair. Okay. Winding Constrictor. That would have been nice to have a little while ago. Let's attack. I think... Let's play the snake. We can gain life with the frill back next turn. If we need to. There's Storm the Festival. And they get a Cavalier and an Old Growth Troll. Their Nykthos now produces a net of 4 mana. Taps for 4, essentially. So yeah, this is going to be hard to beat. Well, I can't really attack into that. I guess I'll go 1, 2, 3, 3. Sure. Let's exile your graveyard and gain 4 life. It's possible I should have just played a giant Stonecoil there. No, because they could have stormed the festival. Pelucranos. Nykthos, adding 9 green mana. 4 Cityscape Leveler. Okay. And this is a deck that's fallen off as of late. We'll take this. When you cast it or attack, destroy, and get a Power Stone. Yep. Alright. Yeah, that's not gonna do it. In Rhythm of the Wild, this can't be spent to cast non-artifact spells. I can actually spend it on my Stonecoil. I could Rhythm of the Wild, then X equals 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I could attack for 10. Is there any way I can do this? Rhythm of the Wild. X equals 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I can do 10 damage. But that's not going to be enough. Rhythm of the Wild. Then I can tap 3. 4, which becomes 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yep, I can do 10. Well, we came close. And people don't play this deck anymore because it's not, like, good enough. Alright, we're against Z Willy. Well, we have turn 1 Ozolith into Dreadhorde Butcher, so I think that's a keep. Oh, it's going to be some kind of enchantment deck. Oh, I should have gone Hardened Scales there instead of Ozolith. I drew a green source. Sram. Well, let's go for the Butcher. I'll trade it for Sram if they want to. Alright, they let it through. Aqueous Form. So they left it on top. Okay, so I think play this on black. Oh man, this is okay. Play Hardened Scales. Kill Sram and take 3 or discard Mountain. Or do we kill Generous Visitor? I think we kill Sram. We have a removal spell for the Generous Visitor, so I think we can take 3 damage. Alright, let's become a 5/5. A 4/4. They did not attack with their generous visitor. Ether Tunnel. So generous visitor really can't be blocked. It cannot even be blocked. Don't even think about it. Alright, well, let's kill it. They scoop. The Butcher got out of control. Okay. So it's a Sram deck. They scooped the whole match? Are you kidding me? The Jet Set guy is our opponent. And this hand looks fine. We got Hardened Scales. Sunken Citadel. Uh-oh. We've only got 2 basic lands, so I really hope they're not on some kind of, like, 8-field list. They are Scales. They are on a 8-field list. That's great. Okay. Well, that's what we didn't want to see. They're mono black too. Well, I think I just play a 3/3 Stonecoil before I just get totally Ponza'd out of the game. Okay, they're Rakdos. Brotherhood's End. Alright, let's play Rhythm of the Wild. More Ponza action. Okay, we do have a mountain. They're Jund and they're doing this. Alright, Bold. Cleansing Wildfire. Well, I need to draw an untapped land here, or else we're pretty much dead. Alright. I'll scoop if they Ponza us one more time. Dire Strain Rampage. Alright. Well, let's see what happens. Up to 2 basic lands. I don't have any basic lands. Let's see if I can draw an untapped land. If not, probably should just scoop. A Llanowar Elf. It doesn't give me green mana. Let's give it haste. So it can Snakeskin Veil itself. Alright, so they're just gonna destroy all our lands. Yeah, we'll concede. They're destroying our black source. We have no more red sources. Okay. Well, this is what we really didn't want to see. Damping Sphere slows down their sunken citadels. I don't know what else we want. Snakeskin Veil, maybe, to protect our creatures, because they are Jund. Maybe a couple of Duresses. Let's cut our 4-drops. Actually, I'm not going to cut Domri, because it can actually add mana if we ever miraculously get to 4 mana. Cut Fatal Pushes. Cut Scoos. Cut a Contaminator. Okay. We got lands. Do I play my Butcher on 2? I think I do. Or do I wait till I can hold up Snakeskin Veil? I think I'll go for a Winding Constrictor. Of course, they have the turn 2 Field of Ruin. Alright, we do have a swamp. An untapped green source would be nice. Opponents. Untapped green mana? No. Alright. Well, let's play our Butcher. Let's get in. Play a tap land. They don't have black mana showing, so they can't interact with our board. Okay, there's black. Sure. They just Cleansing Wildfire. They have Fatal Push for our Butcher. Power Word Kill. Alright, we have no green mana, so we can't play... We can't play our Spellbreaker, or our Llanowar Elf, or our Snakeskin Veil. Assassin's Trophy. No point in searching because we don't have any more basics. Alright, well, we find a green source. Guess we'll go for a Llanowar Elf. And what do they have for us this turn? Removal plus LD, no doubt. Buzz Crusher, okay. Nope, that's fine. Go ahead and kill that thing. Culligan's Command. Wish it could get lands or lands. Do we haste our Spellbreaker? Probably, right? Just getting as much damage as we can. We can get back a Dreadhorde Butcher. There's the Demolition Field. And they sweep our board. Damping Sphere is a little late. It's very extremely late. uh... I mean, okay. Sure, I'll play it. And when we get Ponza again, I'll scoop. So we're hoping for a land that we can use to K-command them. Get back our Dreadhorde Butcher on their turn. Play it. No. All right. Another Buzz Crusher, whatever, Escape to the Wilds. So I think Saffron Olive played this deck. They have a Brotherhood's End. Um, yeah, they can just Cleansing Wildfire us right now. All right. So we are really, really bad against that deck because we're a 20 land deck that has only 2 basics. So we are like 0% to win that matchup. Okay, we're against Snap Keep Gaming. And we've got cards we can play, so that's a keep. A Snap Keep. Okay, mono red. So we'll just lead on this tap land. They double play with fire. Double bottom. Okay. I think I'll go for a Constrictor. Lightning Strike on the Constrictor. Alright, they are down to 2 cards in hand. Just gonna drop a 3/3 Stonecoil. Chandra, Torch of Defiance. Okay, we could actually stabilize from here. So let's kill Chandra. They only have 1 card left in hand. Play our tap land. Ramanop Ruins. Eidolon. Alright, let's attack with our Butcher. They block. Okay. We'll kill your Swift Spear. Play a 5/5. And they scoop. Alright. So, they scooped the match. Come on now, man. Alright, we've got a game against Chimmy Norbit. Will be on the play. And we've got lands and stuff to do, so I'll keep it. Let's lead on our Triome. Okay. So, there's some kind of landfall deck. Alright, let's get our Butcher going. They are gaining life. Alright, let's play this on green and Hardened Scales. And this is what we want. Problem is, bounce effects are also really good against the Butcher because it has to die to get its trigger. Spelunking. Alright, there's some kind of go big deck. Alright, let's attack with our Butcher. For 4. Get it up to a 6/6. Let's play Rhythm of the Wild. We can't play around Spell Pierce. And let's play a tap land. They're gaining a lot of life. Lotus Cobra. Gonna add a ton of mana. Scapeshift. Okay, so they're gonna add a ton more mana. All their lands are gonna come into play untapped. What can you do with Scapeshift? 4 Lotus Fields? Archdruid's Charm. So they have roughly 1 billion mana. They return them all to the battlefield. They add roughly 1 billion more mana. Okay, they have, yes, like literally a billion mana. They only have 3 cards in hand. Do another analyst. Can I demonstrate the infinite loop? Please. I'll buy back every land from the yard with Analyst, making infinite mana. Yeah. And using Port of Carfels to buy Analyst over and over again. Uh-huh. Until I find Thassa's Oracle. How do you find the Thoracle? With Port of Carfel. Okay, it mills it. Alright, so we want Tranquil Frillbacks, we want Damping Spheres, and we want Duress, and Necromentia? Do we really want Duress, though? You probably don't want all 4. So our creature removal basically doesn't do anything. Right? I mean, being able to kill Lotus Cobra can be good, actually. Okay, command, we don't need Snakeskin Veil. Yeah, these 4 drops. We want everything we can get that can exile cards from their graveyard. Cut Rhythm. Cut this Domri. Okay, command, I guess, isn't that good. Actually, maybe this is a matchup where the mole is really good. You don't need the Ozolith. We don't need Assassin's Trophies, really. Alright. We'll keep this because we have Duress. Also, we can turn to a Bloated Contaminator, which isn't bad. We don't have red mana to kill a Lotus Cobra. So now we do, but then we don't get turned to Contaminator. We do get a Constrictor. Yeah, I think I need my red mana to be able to deal with a Lotus Cobra. Alright, let's duress. Spelunking Scapeshift. How big is Nissa? She's a 3/3. Well, we don't want them to have Spelunking. Let's attack with the Constrictor. And we'll go for Bloaty. Spellbreaker. They have another Nissa, so I'm sure they'll trade for my snake. I think that's fine, though. Making them tap out for another turn. Let's kill you, make you discard. Black, whatever. Okay. Spelunking. Alright. Green, red, whatever. We'll give it... if we give it a counter, it doesn't get proliferated, but that's fine. Want to proliferate it. I guess just play our elf. Scapeshift. I think I need to keep my first, I need to keep my first Spellbreaker alive. I mean, it was bad to attack with Winding Constrictor and then K-command the Nissa, because I knew they had another Nissa. It would have been better to hold the Constrictor to play the Spellbreaker with an additional +1/+1 counter. So they play the Animist. Okay, well, it looks like they're infinite here. Because they have more Animist. Sure, okay. Alright, so we got comboed. So, Hardened Dreadhorde Butchers in Pioneer. Well, we got pretty much destroyed. Our record was like 3-4 or 3-5, but some of those wins were like an early scoop. Early scoops by our opponents. They were like fair wins in game one, but then our opponents just didn't play out the complete matches. So we got kind of crushed by everything from combo decks to aggro decks to more combo decks. The thing is, like, I feel like when you're playing Jund, you can actually deal with all that stuff if you're prepared. And this deck is not ready to face the Pioneer metagame right now. It probably needs like a set of Leyline in the Void in this sideboard. That much is certain. It needs more than 2 Damping Spheres as a way to deal with multi-spell. Because those decks are so popular. Lotus Field and Is It Phoenix? It warrants at least a 3 or 4 of Damping Sphere in the sideboard. I feel like they just could use more Fatal Push too. Like, maybe instead of the Brotherhood's End, there should just be additional Fatal Pushes, because they're good against the mid-range matchups. They're good against, like, Mono Red. What else did we lose to? Lotus Field. I mean, they're good against the Arboreal Grazers, which are very good against our Dreadhorde Butchers. They're good against Lotus Cobras. They're good against the creatures from that Rakdos sack deck that we saw. So definitely more Damping Spheres, more ways of dealing with the graveyard. Is the main board plan powerful enough to get it done? I'm not sure. I feel like we didn't get any like super nut draws off where we like, we got Hardened Scales going really early with the Dreadhorde Butcher, and we're able to keep it on the turn a couple of turns in a row, on the battlefield a couple of turns in a row. So I don't know. I think if we were a little more prepared for the Pioneer meta, and if we were better at mulling, like, or drawing into our sideboard pieces, we would have a better chance. So as it is, like, the deck's not really that viable. We did win one like kind of fair match against Merfolk. I mean, that Merfolk deck wasn't like a meta deck or anything. It was fine. I do like that enchantment, Deepwood, whatever, that creates the 1/1 hexproof tokens. Yeah, another thing is, well, I already said we should have 4 Leyline of the Void as our graveyard hate, and we should. Because Tranquil Fillback and Scavenging Ooze just aren't fast enough to really get the job done. Yeah, so I would add the 4 Leylines. I would add more Damping Spheres, possibly a full playset, at least a third copy. Possibly a second copy of Necromentia as well, because there are, the Lotus Field combo, if you just take away the Lotus Fields, can't really win. That less deck that we saw, if you take away the Lotus Fields, it can't really win. If you take away the Thorgals, it can't win. So as far as like the 8-field decks, I don't think we have much of a prayer against decks like that. Like, we're just going to lose to that. You can't be, ready to face every possible matchup. I think against some of the other decks in Pioneer, we might do okay. Like, actually, maybe Rakdos would be a decent matchup for us, because we're very fair, creature-based mid-rangey deck, and we do have a good amount of removal in our main board, so theoretically we should be good at getting in our creatures for damage and growing them with our tech. It just didn't seem to happen in these matches. Maybe that's a sign the deck's not up to snuff, but who knows? Anyway, I think the idea is really fun, and I will never relent in my quest to make Dreadhorde Butcher and Rhythm of the Wild into excellent, competitive, viable cards. So I've already played this combination of cards, maybe 3 or 4 times on my channel. I think my modern version of it is the best so far. Although I haven't really been playing modern lately because I just am so sick of the Lord of the Rings cards. But you'll see more of this deck. You'll see more iterations, and I think as these cards can probably just go. Like, we're a 20 land deck. We don't really want 4-drops in the deck. There's no real synergy at all between our plan and Anzrag. So I think this is a build around for a totally different deck, which maybe I'll try at some future point. But it certainly doesn't belong in this deck, and I don't think this Domri does either. We'd be better off just having more like bloating contaminators or Gruul Spellbreakers, I think, or like Thoughtseize. Like a playset of Thoughtseize would go a long way in the main board to making this deck better. That is for sure. That's true of every black deck, Jund, Rakdos. Thoughtseize goes a long way, so that would be another way to increase the power level of the main board dramatically. But anyway, that's going to do it for Hardened Dreadhorde Butchers. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, and if you like off-meta, off-kilter MTG content, please be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment down below. I'll see you in the next one. Have a good night.